Hello students, welcome back to my channel. In previous session, we had started discussing about communication channels. So we had discussed wired communication channels. That is, we can also call it as guided media. So guided media is nothing but where there is a physical connection exists between the two nodes. That is your guided media. So today we will be talking about wireless communication media. So wireless communication is also refers as unguided media. So whenever there is no physical connection happening, the wireless communication is happening, then that is called as a unguided media or unbounded transmission media. So in this mode, no physical medium is required for the transmission of the electromagnetic signals. So in wireless communication, we transfer our message through air, water, or vacuum, that is using infrared, radio wave, and microwaves. Okay, usually our Wi-Fi's, Bluetooth and everything work in that way. So that is nothing but your unguided media where there is no physical connection exist. All right. So the very first one, what we are going to be learning is radio wave. So radio wave, the transmission making use of radio wave frequency. Okay. So there is a different kinds of a frequency when we are talking about different kinds of a wave. So a transmission making use of radio frequency is called as radio wave transmissions. So any radio setup has two parts. We will have a transmitter and then we have a receiver. Just like we had a sender and a receiver. The sender is the one who is transmitting the data. Okay, so this person is transmitting the data through unguided media and it passes through whether it is in air, water, and whatever media, and then it reaches the receiver. The receiver will also have a certain kind of a setup where he will understand that is what is the data which has been sent by the sender. So what is the advantages of this? So radio wave transmission offers mobility, okay? Different kind of a mobility it offers. It proves cheaper than digging trenches for laying cables and maintaining repeaters and cables if cables get broken by the variety of causes. Now, in the previous session, when we learned about different kinds of cables, we knew that if at all I have to have a setup, then especially if it is a man or a van, then I should have different kinds of a cable laid out on roads and all. We will see people digging and then connecting, having cables. All this work need to be done if it is a guided media. And also there may be possibility of a signal being interfered, noises, and then in case of a fiber optic, we had also learned that there is a possibility of breakage because those are very sensitive. Such kind of a problems will not arise when it comes to a unguided media. So it offers freedom from land acquisition rights and are required for laying, repairing the cables. All these headache, whatever we will have in case of a wired media is not there when it comes to unguided media. All you have to have is a antennas. It offers case of communications over difficult terrain. For example, there are mountains, there are rivers and everything. In such places, it is difficult to lay wires, isn't it? So in such places, we can easily use these wireless communication. Then what is the disadvantage? Radio wave communication is insecure communication. Anybody can tap into it and breach your data. That is a problem. Radio wave propagation is susceptible to weather effects like rains, thunderstorms, etc. Now, if there is a very different kind of a weather, then there may be signal loss might happen. That is another disadvantage. The next kind of a wave or a transmission media, what we'll be learning is satellite or satellite microwave. A radio wave can be classified by a frequency and wavelength. Now, any wave, radio wave, we are going to divide that according to their frequency and wavelength. So when a frequency is higher than 3 gigahertz, it is called as a microwave. So satellite communication is a special case of microwave relay system. So through the satellite will be sending these microwaves, and then if this is a transmission from there, the uplink will go to the satellite. Satellite will send it to the required place wherever it has to be sent. So this will become a sender. This will become a receiver. So here it is uses microwave, and it is nothing but a frequency which is higher than 3 gigahertz. So, a number of communication satellites owned by both government and private organizations have been placed in stationary orbits about 22,300 miles. Okay, satellites are placed here above Earth's surface. So, that is where our communication satellites can be there and they can send the signals. These satellites act as a relay stations for communication signals. The satellites accept the data signal transmitted from Earth station. That is what I said. From the sender, it will go to the satellite, and from satellite, it will go to the receiver. Amplify them and then amplify them is nothing but make it strong. Make that signal which has been come over here, it would have got lost or it would have become weak. I cannot send the same signal. I'm going to amplify it and then I will send it to the receiver, to the other side of the earth in only one step. Now, when I'm talking about earth, it can be sender can be in another continent, receiver can be in one more continent. All right. So what is the advantages of this satellite microwave? The area coverage through satellite transmission quite large. That is what I said. It can be between two continents. Okay. The laying and the maintenance of intercontinental cable is difficult and expensive. And this is where the satellite proves to be best alternative. It is really not possible to have a cable connection. From USA till India, I cannot have a cable connection. There are so many oceans which come in between. There are so many deserts which come in between. So I can come out of all these problems by simply having a satellite. The heavy usage of intercontinental traffic makes the satellite commercial attractive. Okay. And satellite can cover large areas of Earth. This is particularly useful for sparsely populated areas. So in such kind of places, we can easily use satellite microwave communication. Then what are the disadvantages? Technological limitations preventing the deployment of large high gain antennas on the satellite platform. Okay, so large and high gain antennas on the satellite platform, it is very difficult to, it is a limitation what we are having. Overcrowding of available bandwidth. Everybody wants to use the bandwidth. So that is another problem because that is a very attractive option which is used. Hence, we will have to use more satellites and more bandwidths, more signals. So it is becoming overcrowded. The high investment cost and the insurance cost associated with it significant probability of failure. All right, it is very expensive when you are not spending on cabling and everything, but you having to use a particular satellite is also very expensive. High atmospheric losses about 30 gigahertz limit carries frequencies. So atmospheric conditions also will make the signal loss. That is also another disadvantage what we are having here, because as we know that it is stationed, if this is Earth, it is stationed above the Earth's surface in a very high place. Here you have your satellite. So by the time you're sending a signal, because of the atmospheric pressure also, you might have a frequency loss. All right. So these are the disadvantages. Now, other unguided media, what we have is the infrared. The very first one is the infrared. Infrared is something which we will see usually at home. The very simple example is TV and remote. So this type of transmission uses infrared light to send the data. The infrared light transmits data through air and can propagate throughout the room. Okay, but it will not penetrate walls. Now, this is the limitation what we have for infrared. The infrared transmission has become common in PDAs, that is personal digital assistants, like handheld devices like Palm Pilots, etc. Personal handheld devices, remote systems, all those things. The infrared transmission is considered to be secure one. Okay, so this is your infrared. Next is your laser. Laser is also another unguided media. The laser transmission requires direct line of sight. So like as it is, if this is a sender, you should have a direct, you cannot have interferences. It should be the receiver. The laser transmission requires the use of laser transmitter and a photosensitive receiver. So this has to be a photosensitive receiver which can analyze the signal which is being sent by the sender. The laser transmission is point-to-point transmission, typically between buildings, but lasers have a certain disadvantage, which is it can be adversely affected by the weather. Once again, if you have some rains and all happening over here, then it can be affected. That is what I said. Any interference, lasers cannot withheld that. Okay, so infrared and laser also are another kind of unguided media. So these are the different kinds of unguided media what we have studied. In previous session, we had learned about all the guided media. So with that, we will complete the media, that is channels of communications. All right. So thank you for watching, students. Keep learning.